What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sash, and I'm here with my boy.
It's your boy Old Man.
All right, y'all. So this is the first episode of Things of That Nature. It's a platform where we do no gatekeeping, man. We talk about any topics. We willing to have open conversations, and tell them what time it is, though.
Man, it's time to grow.
All right, y'all. So we finna get straight into the first episode, which is healing phase, man. So we really finna get deep into this topic because I feel like a lot of us are going through healing, man. We all been through a lot of trauma, a lot of disappointments. So we really want to get into it. So what is it?
What's a healing phase?
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like a lot of people really want to know, like, what is a healing phase?
I say the biggest thing of a healing phase is one, understanding that you've been hurt, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that they've been hurt and that they need to enter a healing phase. So I say identifying is probably the main priority with healing phase.
I agree. I also say, not even just acknowledging that you're hurt, but just also giving yourself that time to be emotional. Because I think that's one thing too. Like, we deal with these emotions, they come up, and then we like, nah, I'm just gonna suppress it, brush it on the rug, and then you be wondering why you be out here.
Right.
I guess you could say projecting on the wrong people.
Yeah, definitely.
Or, yeah,
definitely for men, because a lot of times we hear healing phase and we've been through some emotionally. We going through it. Mostly, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just get on the game. I'm just go out with the guys. But sometimes you need like that alone time to yourself, where you can lock in with yourself, allow yourself to feel those emotions. If you gotta cry, let it out. If you're angry, hit the gym. Just feel those emotions. Let those emotions play their role. That way, like you say, you're not projecting it on other people. Come, later down the road. So.
That's true. And then also with the healing phase, I guess from what you just said, it's finding like those outlets for yourself. Like, you got to find what works for you, because the healing phase looks different for everybody, which goes into our next one. Like, what does that look like for you? Like, what does healing look like for you? Like, because I feel like we had a conversation about this recently about what we've been healing from. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing for healing, one, I need my space, but not only do I need my space, I need a clean space. So, like, when I identify that I've been hurt, my biggest thing is I go clean. Cause now that it's clean, all right, now I'm in a nice area, I'm in a clean area, so now I can feel everything. So once I feel everything, then it's time to go hit the gym.
Gotta hit the gym.
When it's on my chest, I gotta get it off me. So I gotta get it off me. So I gotta go to the gym, get that energy off, let that thing go. Come back, do some reading, talk to God, talk to the OG for a hot minute. And I know, I ain't talking about no little 10-minute devotion. I'm talking about some
laying at his feet.
A 12-hour nap, the rest at your feet after I done cried. So, and once I've been through that, that probably take a day. I probably still be hurt, but I know I'm 100 times better to be able to go outside the next day, or like to be around people the next day, and then I don't crash. Because a lot of times, before I found this little area that I can heal in, I used to think I was healing and go outside and crash. So I'll be around people and I'll just be like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, man, like, I ain't healed yet. So I'll probably say that's the biggest thing.
For me, healing looks like I done came a long way though, cause
shopping sprees.
Not even just shopping sprees, cause I even know that people think that's what it is for women. I feel like for me, it's self-care. Anything dealing with self-care for me is healing, because a lot of times for me, the biggest thing that I had a problem with was being a people pleaser. Like, I'm always trying to be there for everybody else, suppressing what I had going on. And then when I realized, like you said, when I finally crashed, or when I finally got to my breaking point, I'm like, dang, how did I get here? But then I'm like, well, Sasha, you was doing X, Y. When you sit in it. And I think for me, I'm always a person, I got to be on the move. I got to have some type of move. Like, for me, like, I got to plate with compartments on it, because I'm constantly piling it on. Like, I'm the type of person, I ain't going back for seconds because my plate's going to be full already. But I'm trying to learn to go back. Trying to learn to go back for seconds. So for me, it's like, it's self-care. Like, whether it be doing a wash day with my hair, or giving myself a face mask, or just chilling all day, doing nothing but watching TV, catching up on shows that I haven't been watching, journaling, talking to God, doing yoga, meditating, just something that I know for a fact is not in my normal routine that I do, that I know for a fact can get me back to that place where I'm centered, where I can hear from God, where I can move differently, where I can go after my passion and do my purpose to the best of my ability. Because I feel like when you're not healed or when you're still not dealing with those emotions or tapping in, you really see how it affects everything around you, from your schoolwork to your relationships, to your friendships, to how you deal with people, how you go to work. You go to work mad every day because you don't even realize it. But it's like it affects everything. But when you get to a place when you in tune, like for me, when I'm in tune, like I feel better. Everything around me feel better. I get up like going to class. I have a different perspective. Right. It's like putting on glasses for the first time. And I think that's what healing looks like for me. Putting on glasses for the first time and actually like seeing things clearer, whether it be cleaning up, whether it be turning on music. It looks different for everybody. But for me, that's what it is. It's self-care.
Gotcha. So you mentioned like breaking your routine, like your normal routine. So if you break your normal routine, is that normally when you're in a healing phase or?
It's normally when I feel myself pivoting into another season of my healing phase, or just in life in general, because of the fact that when you really look at it from a certain standpoint, it just depends on like what may be going on. Right. So for me, breaking a certain routine, like for example, for instance, if like recently, like last semester, I kept trying to apply for different internships and trying to get it. And I'm like, dang, and I kept like getting disappointment after disappointment, rejection after rejection. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do that's different? Like, how do I need to move now? Because routine doesn't necessarily have to mean like step 1, step 2, step 3, or today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to do that. It could be like, I want to accomplish this.
Right.
I set out, because I don't even do to-do lists anymore. I do to accomplish lists. This is what I want to accomplish. So if I can't accomplish it today, I want to accomplish it tomorrow or the next day. But for me, it just looks like figuring out how can I move differently in this situation, in this circumstance that I'm in. Breaking that, because like I feel like if you keep doing the same thing and expecting the same results, it's not, or different results, it's not gonna work. You have to do something differently in order for you to like really, really get different results. And so that's what I feel like you gotta do. Like I feel like for me, getting out of that routine means figuring out, okay, what do I need to do now? Because what I had did then wasn't working. So now it's time to figure out something different instead of me keep going in the same, because I feel like for me, doing the same routine over and over and over again, and there's no change, there's no pivoting, because you got to be able, with God, you got to be able to pivot. I'm not gonna lie, you got to be able to.
Sometimes you got to travel.
Okay,
and you turn the ball over.
You got to be able to detour. You got to be able to flag on the play, like a timeout team. You got to be able to, and I feel like that's for me. I learned like it's okay to switch it up. It's okay to change things, because I always be that person like, no, it got to stay the same.
Yeah.
I used to be a real bad control freak of a lot of stuff. Then I had to learn like you got to let go of that. And you got to be okay with change. Healing, you got to be okay with change, because you're going to go up and down with your emotions.
But I think that's a hard part for a lot of people. Like change. Knowing, like in that healing process, knowing that so I look at it like a procedure. Not everything you're going to need a Band-Aid for. Something you need surgery. So with a healing phase, you can walk, like with a torn ACL, you can walk. Shout out to my boy, he got a torn ACL. With a torn ACL, you can walk, but you still might need surgery to actually heal.
Right.
So a lot of people don't like to identify like the healing phase because they can still move. But, you gotta have that surgery so you can move twice as better in the same amount of time. But that's just, they don't want to. A lot of people don't like to admit that. I know I didn't. When I was going through it.
I spent Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid, Neosporin. When did you really put Neosporin on it? I was really just slapping it on.
If I can walk, I can run. But then I started to realize I can run today, but I can't run tomorrow. So do I heal, sit down today, chill, so I can walk tomorrow and then run the next day? Or do I just sprint, get it all done, but crash out?
Right.
Because you'll never know what a crash out may lead into.
Yeah. So that's another thing too. Like when you're healing, if you ever notice, like when you fall off your bike and you get like a little scar, your mom put Neosporin on it and she put a Band-Aid on it. It heals over time. She tell you to keep that Band-Aid on it because it's gonna get infected.
Took that Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta take that Band-Aid off to look at it and to see why it's infected. What's the problem? What's the root of the problem? Because I feel like that's the biggest thing for me. I was hurting, but I'm like, why am I hurting? Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel this disappointment? Why do I feel this grief? Even if it's not grief dealing with like a family member, just over opportunity I didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, a friendship that I feel like got messed up over something crazy or stupid. And once you do that, like take the band-aid off, you realize, dang, like it's just really an open wound that I just didn't treat the way that I should have treated it. And so I still got scars on my knees from when I fell, like when I used to ride my bike. And I used to look at them like, dang, like, that's crazy. But once you come a long way from actually tending to it and going back to that wound and seeing like, dang, like, yeah, actually, you look at it differently.
Yeah. So I got a question. Does the healing phase have a time limit? Because a lot of people want that question the next day. They want that answer.
Let me be real, child. It's a continuous process. And I feel like it's a continuous process because of the fact that you're going to always have those triggers. Right. Things that's going to trigger them emotions that deal with that pain that you had from whatever scar that you had or trauma that you had. Say, for instance, you get in a relationship and it's not even the person, it's just something that they may do that trigger that emotion for you. But you have to know those triggers, which means you have to go through the healing phase to get to know, like, okay, I get like this when I'm angry. I get like this when I feel abandoned. I get like this when I feel like I'm not getting enough love. I'm not really affectionate because of this. So you just have to really find those triggers. And then once you do, you continuously do the work. It's a continuous process. You have to be willing to put in the work and the effort. It's like a job. You got to clock in some days even when you don't feel like clocking in. And you have to be okay with the process not going the way that you want it to go. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, healing is ugly. Like, some days it's going to be ugly. Like, you're gonna be crying your eyes out one day. You're gonna look at yourself in the mirror and be like, dang, why did you allow that? Why did you do that? And you're gonna be hard on yourself sometimes, but then you have to still extend yourself that grace and be like, it's okay that I made that mistake. It's okay that I'm hurting because I'm not the only one hurting. I'm not the only one that felt this way. Right. But how can I deal with the pain? Because I think that's another thing too. We always talk, if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
So, but even if it's not broke, even if it's sprained, try to do something to it. They still elevate it, ice it, do something for you. You still got to do something to it. Like, you still got to. So it's a continuous, it's a journey. It's a marathon now. It's not a sprint. Ain't no sprinting. You have to find a pace that works for you. So even if your friends are in a healed place, quote unquote, and you're not there, it's okay. Because I had to learn that, like, my friends had healed from certain things or they had gone on and passed certain things. But I was still dealing with certain wounds that I had. And I had to be okay with that. Instead of comparing, like, dang, I wish I just go ahead and get over this breakup, get over this disappointment, get over. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm still, even though I got internships and opportunities, I'm still, like, you know, I get a little salty. You still be disappointed dealing with certain
stuff. Why they want me?
But then I really had to look in the mirror and be like, okay, Sasha, like, maybe it was a reason why God didn't allow you to get those opportunities. But when you hurt, you don't look at things the same.
You don't look at stuff healed.
People hurt people. You get what I'm saying? Hurt people don't make, your mind don't be right. So it's like, in that moment, I'm like, dang, like, I really wanted this. But now that I look back at it, I'm like, dang, did I really need that?
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing with healing is understanding you need it more than you want it. Because a lot of times, like you said, healing's ugly.
It's ugly.
It ain't gonna be cute. It ain't gonna be pretty. It ain't gonna be, you come home, your favorite food hitting. Like, when you healing, your fits might not even hit the same. So you just understanding, like you said, that's a process. It takes time, one day at a time. My biggest thing when it came to healing, I was trying to move too fast, but I had to realize, okay, if I can, address it today, tomorrow maybe I can, dive into it a little deeper. Then the next day I can, go deeper. So it's like when you working at, like, let's say you working out, you got to take it one set at a time, right? You can't complete your whole workout in 10 minutes. If you got 20 exercises, right? You need breaks. So that's pretty much how the healing process is, slowing it down. And like you said earlier, it's different seasons to healing. Healing got identification maybe first. You got some second. Some people, and like you said, different pace. So they got different lists. So my list may be 2 steps. Clean area, boom. The next person list may be 30 steps. Yeah. And like you say, you got to find your pace. Because when you try to compare your pace with someone else, now you stepping over your own feet, you stepping over their feet. You kind of like, it's like a opposite trauma bond. Because like you want to move like them, but bro, you got your own problems that you still got to heal and fix and work on. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to healing is how do you communicate with the ones that you love or that you're friends with or you're in a relationship with that, hey, I'm not okay and I need this time to myself to process things that I've been through. And I think that's the biggest thing for me that in my family and black families, like you don't really talk about like my mom, she was taught like she was told like, hey, you just sweep that under the rug, you keep it going. But in our generation, we have more opportunities to be like, hey, like today's is not the day.
Yeah.
Emailing your teacher like, man, I just ain't feeling it. Like I've been having a bad week. I'm just not there mentally, emotionally. So I think that when it comes to communicating, just being open, even if you're dating, just being open and being like, hey, I really want to take this slow. Communication, I ain't gonna lie, communication is the biggest thing when it comes to healing with yourself and with other people. Because if you don't tell somebody you healing, you cannot get upset with them. If they stepping on your toe, you didn't tell them like, hey, don't step on my shoes, or like, hey, I was right here. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody cut you in line, you like, hey, I was in front of you. Instead, you just stand there and let them cut you in line on Chicken Nugget Day. You know what I'm saying?
And not all that. Oh, I was gonna say a little joke, but I ain't even gonna say no. I ain't even say no joke. I ain't gonna say it. But you know what I'm saying? Man, nah, I wouldn't say joke. I ain't gonna say it. But like I said, communication is huge and that's pretty much anything that you do that you find yourself in. If you don't communicate it, they don't understand. They won't understand.
I'm not gonna say it no more.
And one big thing with healing, like you might be going through a healing phase, but it's some stuff you can't get out of, right? Like, let's say I'm going through a healing phase, but I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to, and like I don't want to go to work when I'm healing, and I don't need to go to work when I'm healing. Are two different things, right? Just because you're healing don't mean you can stop your life.
Yeah, you still got to keep going. Right. I think that's another thing too. Like a lot of people's like sometimes you do need that time too. But that's where you like know. That's why it's a gradual process because there's some days you be like, man, like I just want to chill today, and some days I don't feel like chilling. Some days I just want to.
Right.
Some days I want to get up and go, and then some days you may not feel like getting up and go. Right. But sometimes the real, I guess you could say, strength in it is overcoming like those thoughts.
Exactly.
Those things that are trying to attack your mind and tell you like, hey, you not there yet, or no, don't go there yet, don't go to that function yet. And that, I guess that goes to the next thing, like how do you know when you can go back to that place where it hurt you, like where it caused you to have to go and be healed? How do you know when to go back, either whether it be for closure or just to coexist with a person, or when to fix it? Because sometimes I think people let things go too quickly, and you don't really give a person a chance or things another chance. It's like with internships, I had to just quit and just been like, nah, like, or even with relationships, you just be like, nah, I was hurt, like I'm not finna date nobody again. But it's like once you heal, it's like, okay, what now? Like you just gonna say you just gonna be lonely for the rest of your life because of that trauma, even though I know for some people it do take time. But how do you know when it's okay to like gradually step back into it, go back to that place that kind of like hurt you, or to get closure?
I say, for me, pretty much, I know when to go back when I know I'm not going to take it personal, right? So a lot of times my healing phase, what I like to do, I try to look at myself third person and try to realize, okay, even if what they did was personal, let's try not to take it personal. Let's just say they had a bad experience and they just dumped it on me, right? So I take that healing phase and say, all right, cool. You know, they did bad to me. They did bad on me. It is what it is. I heal from it. So let's say I go back out and I see them again. I look at them, or I look at the situation, or if it's a new experience, I say, all right, you know what? I'm not going to take it personal. What happened to me that's what happened to me. That's not what's happening to me today. So I know when to go back, when I'm not going to take it personal, and I'm not going to hold no grudge, right? I think that's the biggest thing with healing is, like, you heal when you don't hold a grudge. If you hold a grudge, like you still here. Like if I see the person that stabbed me in my arm tomorrow, I'm gonna be upset tomorrow. But like as time go on, and I see him, I'm gonna say, hey, maybe you had a reason, bro. Yeah. Maybe I was acting out of character. So I say, just not really. Don't take it personal. for me. I know yours might be different from mine. So
I agree with don't take it personal because for me, like I used to always take certain things people said a little too to heart. And I had to learn, like, it's okay. Like, people gonna say stuff. You gotta be able to take constructive criticism. You gotta be able to take that stuff. For me, it also looks like once I've taken time to put myself in their shoes. Because if I'm not able to see it from their perspective or their side, like you said, like, why did they do this?
Right.
Or the part I played in it. You got to hold yourself accountable, too. Because people be like, no, they did this to me, but did you look at your part? You did something, too. I promise you did. And I had to look at it like, dang, I did do something. Like, if the relationship didn't work out, what part did I play in that? The friendship, what part did I play in it? Or just anything, like, what I could have did better. You got to take a step. But if you're not taking a step back to see it from their perspective, you will continuously be closed-minded and be like, no, they did this to me, they did this to me. Yeah. But it's like, but why? Why did they do it to you? And what part you played in it? Right. And so I feel like, because it was this lady, heard the story of this lady, her husband, I think he left her and her kids, like they had to start a business together, and he left. So she said she went home one day, and she walked around the house in his shoes. And it made her look at things differently, like, and so she was like, I could have been. Like, at first I was angry because at first she was angry, but when she walked around the house and walked in his shoes, she saw it differently. And she lived to be like 100 and something. But if she hadn't walked in his shoes and looked at it from a different perspective, she would have held on to that hurt. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much you holding on to stuff really can kill you. Yeah. Not even just physically, but mentally, emotionally, internally, it can hurt you more than anything. You holding on to things, you gotta let it go. Yeah, you gotta release it, and not for them, but even for you. For your sake, yeah. For your sake. If I'm in a place where I can put myself in other person's shoes, then I feel like I'm better.
And like you said, self accountability. Man, it's been time. I'd have been hurt, and I didn't. This was even recently. I've been hurt, and I had to address that. I had to, you feel me? Go sit myself down, talk to the OG. The OG is God, by the way. Whenever I say talk to the OG, but I had to sit myself down, talk to him. He was telling me like, "Yo, you didn't hold yourself accountable with that." So, but like you said, self accountability, that's huge because when it comes to healing, you got to understand you play the biggest part in healing. How long it takes, whether you sprain an ankle, tore a ligament, and a heartbreak, you're the determining factor. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable, like you said, you're gonna be walking around holding a grudge, closed-minded, but you shortening your own days because you can't.
They done moved on.
Right, they done moved on. They happy, they living. Here you are still in the same fit, throwing the same fit. Okay. In the same fit, throwing the same fit, and you stuck. So.
Yeah, you got to. You gotta change clothes, man.
You gotta change clothes.
You gotta switch it up.
You got to, because if not, like you said, you shortening your own days. And you could be blocking your blessings too. And I think that's the biggest thing, like when it comes with healing. I ain't gonna say that's the biggest, that's one of the biggest, like, understand, like, take that time to heal because it's blessings. Like, you still got blessings. Right. You took an L, we all take L's, but it's some wins in front of you. But if you marinate this L too long, you're going to be cooking up L's for the rest of your life. So you just got to, self-accountability, take the L in, talk to your OG.
Well, that comes to the question, how long do you stay in it? And I feel like that pertains to the person because some things people feel like they need a little longer to heal in. Yeah. Because for you, it may take a quicker process, but for the other person, it's like if they go through a heartbreak similar to yours, it's like, nah, I need more time.
Yeah, and it depends on the event. Like a heartbreak, you might be going through a heartbreak. The next person might be going through, losing a family member. Right. So those two different events, they both are a healing phase, but they both take they should take different times. So
yeah, and I guess that also goes into like how, well, not even how, but how healing is. Sometimes it's not connected to romantic relationships. It can be connected to other things. Like I just said, like with disappointments from not getting a job or disappointments in starting your business. It could be anything, or the business not starting, or just anything. Like, yeah. So how you feel about that? Like I feel like it doesn't necessarily have to be attached to a person.
Oh, no. Healing is more of an object. Like it's healing, like you're healing from that object or from that answer that you got from that object.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a person, whether it's a place, whether it's a company, or what if it's a loved one, like losing a loved one, you're healing from that experience. So
right.
healing is more of an experience thing. It's not so much people, places. It's an experience. Like say, I may go to Chick-fil-A and have a bad experience. I gotta heal from that. I have to, because I gotta go back to Chick-fil-A at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same thing with relationships. You may have a bad experience with this person, but not all people are the same.
Right.
So when you take off the cap on healing, and you realize that healing is just, all right, you're gonna always heal. Every day I'm healing. I wake up, I might have a bad experience with a professor.
Mm-hmm.
I can't look at my next one like that, because she might be the reason I might get this degree or not. So it's mainly an experience thing.
I definitely agree. Because I feel like sometimes it requires for you to take that isolation and separation too. And I think that's the hardest thing, is learning how to detach from things, or from that thing, or from people, in order for you to really, really heal. Because we want to hold on to things and people, because we feel like, but everybody can't come with you in your healing phase unless they really gonna support you, and they really gonna be like, hey, if you need time, it's okay. If you text me like, hey, it's a bad day, I'm okay with giving you space. Right. But like we said, be open with their communication and let them know you're healing. But sometimes you do need to isolate. You may not be ready to go out and go to parties. You may not be ready to go out to this social event yet, until you know for a fact, like, I can handle it. I'm in that place where I feel confident enough to walk into a room and I don't allow this person to shift my energy. I don't allow this same incident, when it happens, to make me act out the same way that I, because every action don't need a reaction. You know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about that when it comes to like isolating and separating when you're healing?
Isolation, one is understanding who you are as a character and who you are as a person, right? Because I know I'm the kind of person, I can be by myself for 2 weeks and not even on no healing phase, just like it's just me, God, and this book I'm reading, or the game. So it's understanding who you are as a person, first and foremost, and two, understanding what situation caused your healing phase. So if a group setting caused your healing phase, you might need an isolation. If an isolation setting caused your healing phase, you might need a group. You see what I'm saying? So it's understanding the event that happened, understanding who you are as a person. Those are like the two biggest things. And then from there, as you go on, like your healing phase will tell you what you need. Now your healing phase will say, all right, hey bro, you need time by yourself. Hey, that's when your friends go to lunch, you know?
Yeah.
So, the healing phase will tell you, but you got to know who you are first.
Right.
And the event that happened to you, then you can move.
Yeah. Because I feel like through your healing process, you find out who you are. You find out different layers about yourself. You're like, dang, I didn't know I like this wrong.
That's how I discovered reading. Really? I didn't know I liked to read until, an event had happened to me. And I was like, dog, I go get me a book, 3 highlighters, a pen. I'm annotating, reading, looking up words. So, but I didn't know that until I started healing. So you're going to learn a lot about yourself.
But really be willing to be open to learn about yourself. Because I think a lot of times we find our identity in people, we don't really realize it, how our identity is attached to people, until we like learn how to detach from that person. And once you get to that point where you feel like, okay, I know who I am, you'll handle things differently. You'll be in certain relationships, you'll move different. You'll be like, okay, if this person was to leave tomorrow, I'm still me. Like I still got what I need. Yeah. Even if that person do leave. But will I be hurt? Yes. But I'm not going to lose myself in it, because of the fact I know who I am and I know my worth. I know my identity. It doesn't come from people. It comes from God. So I think that's the really big thing.
So let me ask you, with your personal healing phase, what's one of your biggest takeaways? Like just yours. Mine,
I'd say learning how to like go with the flow with it. Like I said, I always wanted to be in control. Like, it gotta go like this. It gotta look like this. My healing phase gotta be like this.
Planning out a healing phase.
Crazy. Yeah, planning out like I'm gonna.
That's crazy.
Yeah. See, I'm an organized person. I love to plan. But when you're healing, especially when you're dealing with God, you cannot plan. Oh, yeah. And so I'm learning that more and more every day. Like, it's okay, Sasha, to like just be present. Be present in the moment. Be present in Him. Today is a good day. Be present in that moment. Don't worry about, well, dang, what if I feel bad tomorrow? What if I'm gonna cry tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.